Iko Nini, ikiwa ni episode 201. Nikisema like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend. Na leo niko na best yangu fulani hapa. Swaga mabeste on Facebook. Tumekuwa mabeste on Facebook for long, si ndio?
For quite some time.
Yeah. So mseminya anaitwa Silas Nyanchwani, anakuwa ni author. Na most probably kwa ushamuona before, ulimcheki kwa NTV, alikuwa kwa show ya Dr. Kingori. Ukibonga juu ya story na madem, si ndio?
Yeah.
Lakini leo nataka tubonge juu ya vitabu. I guess pia na madem. But before that, na kuremind pia vile nimesema like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Alafu utachikijo kuna button fulani iko hapo imeandikwa thanks. Inaitagwa pia super thanks. Na hiyo inamaanisha that if you appreciate the content, unataka kutu gift kitu, unaweza baki umetu gift na nitabaki nime appreciate. Na pia wacha leo nitake opportunity jo ku appreciate best yangu fulani, anaitagwa Kela. Kela ukitaka kumpata utampata on the ground floor ya Galleria Mall, wagana run the Universal Smart Planet Systems, and there he repairs phones, tablets and such. And this is a guy that I can vouch for because kuna a certain tablet that I had, ilikuwa ya bro ile tuko hii imeenda kabisa na aliweza kuifufua. Alafu pia nikakumbuka like just before, I think was last year, I had some old iPhone 6 ngo try kufufua, nikapata mse fulani wa ilikuwa ni nini, mse yuko Instagram akabaki amefanya uchawi. So huyu mse atakufanyia uchawi, huyu mse atakufanyia job poa kabisa. So inaitwa the Universal Smart Planet Systems ama USPS, iko ground floor ya Galleria Mall, na hapo uta get all the repair work that you need done, be it on your phone, be it on your tablet, be it on your computer or even the gaming consoles. So make sure check out Kela. Alafu akisha kufanya kazi kama mniambie vile imeenda, cause na kuguarantee he won't disappoint you. But so wacha tuanze show jo. So Silas John aje jo?
Poa sana man.
Mimi nimekuwa fan wako for some time jo. Mufurahiaga sana zile ma long posts zako za Facebook, ujiachilia jo.
Hiyo kelele kujaribu kusaidia wanaume.
Kuska kuna like one of the most interesting ones niliona uliandika majuzi. As you wagome pin, I think uliandikaga in January. It's the one you are talking about how divorce, the average divorce rate ya saizi ni 46. Ulisema kitu hiyo?
Yeah, like among mtu kama umesoma kuna degree, you have a corporate job. Chance of being divorced is between 30 to 50%.
Oh, okay.
It's just between a certain, kama umesoma, you have like a corporate job, you're a middle class, na unaishi like in the big cities like Nairobi, Eldoret, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kisumu. Chances are that you'll be divorced down the line, 30 to 40%.
Kwa nini?
Ni vitu mingi sana. It's like madem, unajua the world changed so fast. So we are where America was like in the 70s, because starting from 2005 mademu hapa Kenya walianza kupata pesa. So and for the longest time marriage for a woman was a means to be provided for. So demu akianza kujiprovidea, then role ya mwanaume kwa maisha yake inaenda ikididimia. So that's unapata like for men, ulikuwa unajua game unakuja nayo tu, you'll come and provide, then you don't want to do much after that. So unapata umewa dem pia kona do. Alafu unajua dem kama kona do, you have to have more than her. You have like for women marry upwards. Like the man probably is older, the man is probably richer than her. That's how normally it works. But unajua kama umesoma, labda ulitoa dem kampo, udem akona chance the same ya succeed. So it's basically a number of factors. And also pia unajua hata sisi wanaume over the years tumelose siki tuita frame. Unapata like we are not as strong mentally, even physically as our fathers or as our grandfathers were. And women will always want strong men. So hiyo hapo ndio noma sana inatokea.
Alafu nasema ati around 2005.
Nasema unajua vile Kibaki ameingia. So now women joined the workforce of course from the 60s 70s. But as ukiangalia from 2005 zile jobs zenye Kibaki alicreate, for example in real estate, banking, higher education, hiyo landscape yote imefavor madem sana kwa accommodate madem. Alafu tumefika ile stage a man and a woman are almost earning equally.
Yeah.
Najua kitambo ilikuwa like men were earning more
Yeah.
and women were earning less and men held like almost all the jobs. But over the years, that's not nasema like kama umesoma kama vile ulikuwa kampo, I'm sure from your time both sisters tulikuwa kampo, unaona class ulikuwa unapata madem tuko almost the same number. So alafu unajua sasa kuna affirmative action yenye imefanya madem wakapata majob the last like 10 years. Yeah. Sasa hizi nikipeana CV yangu na demo apeane, there's a high likelihood that a woman might be employed ahead of the man. But sasa hiyo imaanishi like I'm excusing men. I'm just painting the picture as it is.
Yeah. So unasema Kibaki ndiye alituleta hii noma yote.
Ni society vile ina change. And when the economy is working for both men and women, vitu ziko stable. But when the economy is not working for men especially, wanaume sasa unaona like our usefulness in life at even among our male friends inaenda chini. But now you can't even marry, because for you to marry as a man, marriage is nikitiko na a lot of material responsibilities. And also now we are caught in between, because madem wetu in as much as like your feminism ilikuja wali embrace, so they embraced what is good in the West and they want the best they can get locally. So bado nao hawajevolve fikile stage ya kama for example bwako amelose job, unaweza msupport. So unaona like ukilose 2 jobs size as a man leo tuko August, by December maze kama hujajipanga unaweza kuwa umeachwa if it gets that far, you know. So there's so much that is going on and all of us are trying to negotiate our existence, but I normally say that we are the first casualty generation. America was there in the 60s, in the 70s, and then from there now people will learn either to remarry, to engage stories of serial monogamy, wengine wachane na marriage kabisa. So we'll see how the next 20 years will pan out.
Unaona ukitumia hiyo term serial monogamy inamaanisha?
Serial monogamy inamaanisha unajua kitambo we had polygamy, wewe unaoa mabibi zako unaishi nao. But sasa tushaingia ile phase yenye unaoa una divorce. So our friends who are alive in their late 30s and they're already in their second marriage. Hiyo ikiisha in their 40s wataoa tena, in their 50s wataoa. Vile tu majuu unaonanga tu sijui ni actress fulani alikuwa na husband kama 5 by the time they died. Wajua wazungu wao walikuanga ni serial monogamy. You divorce, marry. Sisi tulikuanga like unaoa hiyo marriage ya kwanza kama hajawaka, bibi atabaki hapo, utaoa mwingine akuja ishi hapo. So hata sasa tumeshaingia phase ya serial monogamy sasa, especially anybody who's like in their 30s now and 20s. I think that's what will happen.
Mi joati going near 4th marriage kwani kichwa yako ni mbaya. I think that can work in Kenya pia, cause you're not giving out half of your ish. Because place ka states unajua wanaga vile like if you have a certain level of wealth, you can't be jumping into marriages. It reaches a point where like so I can't keep giving out my half.
Pale libido kakuja na prenups. But also unajua sasa America for the first time has a population of very many single people by the wasitu wataki kwa watu. Washana like marriage to road deal. So washa disengage. Like men right now, naonanga tu akitusiwa men are not serious, so men are living with their parents, nini. But you see now men are like, hakuna kitu marriage inanisaidia. So mbona nioe? Like if you marry, chances are that you lose your property. Chances are like after you, unajua like 70% or even more of divorces are initiated by women. So men are waking up to this reality and trying to see, is there an alternative way of doing these things?
Because hiyo vile umesema like 70% of divorces and that's cause I think it's a comedian who said this. I don't remember which American comedian. Probably, but alikuwa nasema vile a woman is allowed to outgrow you, but you're not allowed to outgrow your woman. So what this means is if you are poor and you get married, sindio? Alafu in this marriage you become a billionaire. Hata kuko na dem kienyeji kabisa, ule bado anajifunda, bado wewe endaga kwa anachapa shawa na si tunaitanga sabuni toyo, sabuni ya kipande.
Ile kipande.
Huyo itabidi ustick na yeye cause she's the one who was with you when you are poor. But if the tables unajua
turn,
and then now it's you, your woman becomes a billionaire, she's allowed to outgrow you and be like, you know what, I don't think you're ambitious enough.
That's normally the case. That's very true. And you know, I like the American stand-up comedians because they're sort of like the new philosophers. They can say these things without being accused of misogyny, ama hizi vitu naitwanga wajima sexism and all that. And that's very accurate.
Yeah. So lazima ukue rada yani but alafu unafeel nini juu ya generation ya mother zetu? I feel like our mother's generation was more loyal, but what I mean by that is we have very many men that we know whose fathers struggled with alcoholism and their mothers had to step up and the marriage still stuck.
Yeah, I can say one or two things. One, our mothers, they were loyal, they were submissive, and most of them actually were given a raw deal.
Yeah.
Them were infected with HIV unfairly by those rampant fathers. And another thing maybe I should say, their loyalty was because of they didn't have options, they didn't have choices. They were housewives. Ukiwa housewife, kuna place ya kuenda, so ama labda uko hapo kwa shop ama ni mwalimu, like you lived within a certain community. But ukiangalia generation yetu, the difference is that our women of our generation now have options. She's working in an office, she's traveling for conferences, alafu najua kitambo kulikuwa na hiyo society had, like we had the society, the community, and we had religion, unaona? And those are two things that now we no longer have. That society is not as intact. Probably hata ni kushow maybe hata kuna makuzo first cousin labda hata ongeangi hata muonani, so kitambo like that collective responsibility ilitusaidia ku contain some of these things. But sasa huko na bibi yako mkikosana leo hapa ni South Sea, na nami huko na Lang'ata anaanza maisha yake, mnapatana club akipiga sherehe na unapiga sherehe yako, so hiyo ndio kitu like the difference is that women now have the money and they have the opportunities, and you can only know the true colors of someone when they are empowered. Ndio utajua mtu kama their behavior ni consistent ama najua kuna watu wako humble juu amesota. Mse tu akishapata do hivi you know the true colors. And women najua for the longest time they didn't have the power, they didn't have these opportunities, so saizi washazipata and they are enjoying them.
I think ni vile hii ngoma ya X-ray na Major, I think ulipata nikisikiza. It just talks about that vile like tukiget pesa lazima watu wajue. So I think kuna watu wako humble juu wamesota. As soon as they get a little money. Hata ni digress. Ulimwona hii picha ya Murkomen kama amevaa Gucci shoes?
Sijaona, but najua anapendanga vitu fancy sana.
What do you think about that? Like an African politician wearing Gucci shoes.
Unajuanga politicians are, what can I call them? Like the political class in Africa, they admire Europe so much. And those big labels, and like they had, I even saw, was it Kiba attacking Sonko? Vile Sonko, like he's so big and is a big brand, he can actually even start his own brand of clothes, But we are always eager to display Iko Nini, those international brands. But it shows how our brains are penetrated na the West, I don't know what to call them, hegemonies, so that they have made those things to have like what you call a snob appeal. So ukiwa nayo now you feel like you are complete, like ushafika. So it means, what that means is that we can never develop our own products, so that's what it means, like, because our elites, they are constantly attracted by what's in the West. So that's what you always pata like mtu ana promote like a Kenyan brand, that kama they are doing that just for silly patriotic reasons, but they don't mean it from their heart.
Because when I think about Sonko was representing Nairobi, and in Nairobi we could appreciate his even Louis Vuitton. Naonga kuna siku aliva Louis Vuitton. But Elgeyo Marakwet, I know he's a CS, but still that average Elgeyo Marakwet person, do they even know what Gucci is?
They don't know what Gucci is, and that's the sad bit. And like I don't know what to say, but like the minister you've mentioned, Murkomen, I think it's the same guy I've seen being accused, like tangu kwa ministers, jila lazima endesho jina magari ka ngapi, lazima, like a lot has changed since he became a CS.
Hata watch zenye anavaa and all that. Maybe ashafika, it's their time. But cause kile na nini vile nimekwambia tumedigress kidogo. I've had these conversations with a lot of people and they keep saying the same thing, that in Kenya politicians are superstars and they're celebrities, and I'm starting to get that feeling because you see a rapper wearing Gucci or a watch makes sense.
Makes sense.
It's supposed to be flashy. As yes, you understand? Like saizi niko sure tukienda kwa internet to search an American MP wearing Gucci hatutaget, an American senator or congressman you won't get, and that's America. Tuende Europe you won't get, but Africa I'm sure you're going to get like a lot of clowns.
No, ilianza kitambo, like even Mercedes, like Mercedes Benz in the 70s, in Europe, like when you go to Germany, people don't buy Mercedes.
Yeah.
Mercedes inatumika maybe kwa taxi and all that, because they prefer public transport, they prefer vehicles that are fuel efficient. So I understand in the 70s Mercedes even had a strategy to sell their cars to the African political class.
Yeah.
And that narrative has always been there. Like in the West, when they make those like big cars, they're targeting the big men in Africa, because big men in Africa are so easy to impress upon. I was laughing how her president was the irony juzi akisema hatutaki kuenda majuu tubebe na mabas. They like that shit, man. Like wanapenda, like they like
being disrespected.
Like the way people go to the UN. I was in New York and wapatanga sijui minister amebeba wife yake, mawife zake wako huku wanabuy tu vitu hapo Manhattan, and I used to go to those stores, man. Ulampata tunguzi kuku tu hata ni mbaya, lakini juu hiyo kitu umeibuy America, you feel like yani sana nishabuy kitu ya. So it shows how we're brainwashed. But you see, that's why you see when these ambassadors, they come here and they're always quoting these people, unakuja upewe magari poa, upewe nguo poa. Like they know once you've impressed upon an African politician, they can even sell the whole country to you. Yeah.
Alafu nini, you kitu umesema the way they're impressed by expensive things. I don't know if you heard about this experiment. There is a time a bunch of very wealthy women were picked up and then they were taken into some random store. Your store wakadanganywa ni high end. And they were being told like, this shoe is $2,000. And they were like, oh, this is quality. Till they were told, I think it was Target, it was one of those lower end. Wakambia like, by the way, hizi vitu ni ini kitu tukwambia $2,000, this one is $50. Hiki tulikwambia ni $1,500, this one is $20. But it's just the human brain.
Yeah, that's how it is. Mimi nakwambia, like I used to walk into those stores in Manhattan natembea. So I'm like, but I can buy better things in Nairobi than this, and the way they're priced. But you see, to an African, especially the elite, mi wambia wase, hapa Kenya, for example, kuna watu wanaishi hizo mamudhaiga, hizo maloresho. They're not even in Kenya, like they're here only physically, but mentally, what they're watching, ni vitu za wazungu, maji wanakunywa, nguo wanavaa, like they hate everything that has to do with Africa. Utu ni mtutumwa kajaka tu niangie tu maybe Kamoli vitu Rivers, arudi tu kwao. So like hata ishi Kenya, like they have nothing to do with the Kenya completely. And that kind of brainwashing, how colonialism worked. Like the first people when the British left, kuna wale watu walikuwa wamecoach a founding president nini. Remember like Njonjo, like you can call that like the Njonjo.
Njonjo, like
we
mentioned
it here. That is the Njonjo mentality, where you don't like anything that is African. And you only feel good when, so that's the situation. So kuna kitu hapo muuliza juu ya nani? Murkomen.
Yeah.
Unajua kitu moja in realize, for example, something about fashion. Mi mazee ubaingi vitu expire mazee, lakini navaa napata tu nakaa kama vile nakaa. Na kuna msana naezenda huku tu Gikomba tu mazee achukue tu mitumba yake mazee na adunge mazee na kunyoroshe. Unaona? So it's not about of course the big brands matter. But as you are saying, like in a place kama America, like wala watu tuvaa tu suti and they just look decent. Yeah. So brand by this inakuanga tu ni za for someone who's like extremely brainwashed. It's something that you should indulge in when you can afford and when it's necessary, but it's not like something now that becomes an absolute necessity.
Murkomen is in his 40s. That's number one. Murkomen is intelligent. Like if I was to put Murkomen and Sonko, I'd expect, who is mentally superior. Understand? One is financially superior, the other one is mentally superior. And as a mentally superior person, I think in your 40s, you should have outgrown Gucci, this crap. This is... No, I say this as someone who used to rap. I come from the background of damn shit.
I remember those days. Yeah, but to correct you, hakuna tofauti ya toa wawili. I think that one is just eloquent and was maybe smart in class but the mental composition ya watu wawili hakuna tofauti kabisa. Like the political class in Africa, yule chokora mwenye ni mayor na president, that's why they eat from the same table. Akunanga tofauti kabisa because, and this is what really like annoys me, an African can go and study in Harvard but it still come back and utasikia tu akisema some very dumb shit ama utapata bado ndo umeshikwa kwa corruption scandal, so akunanga tofauti kabisa.
I think even that's why naniali to vile nakwambia sasa tumedigress kabisa but tutarudi. That's why this other guy alishtua watu sana, Njoroge, this Njoroge who was the CBK guy, the one who even I think is he celibate ama what, ama he has to live a life where he has these principles that he follows.
He's an Opus Dei. And he's basically a Catholic priest. A Catholic, they have that thing they call Opus Dei where you can be married, I think he chose not to marry. You know, so the likes of Kinanjoroge, those now are like now the rare breeds. So watu kama wale zata kuna wase kwa gavu bweka na watu kama wale sana like kwa nini unafanya kazi like they really hate that so wale tu ni outlier, but generally hapa Kenya and in Africa when you get in your aim is to eat. Na mimi nasemanga like it's possible to eat and still work. But hapa we are so fixated with only eating and no work. So unajua country kama Singapore, those Asian tigers they keep on talking about Korea and all that kitu moja watu wajuangi why they are developed is America was trying to fight communism in Asia. And they invested a lot in them. And when Singapore, the South Korea was sending people to America, those guys went to America, they borrowed the technology, they borrowed the right things but hapa Mwafrika maza akienda akisoma akirudi even becomes dumber and dumber. Ama wale wanapata like they're intelligent, they never get a chance to serve and do the right thing. Unaona?
Because I think also it's because vile musemaga like the average Kenyan is questionable.
Like, across the world by the population zinakuanga hivyo like unapatanga kuna like kama Kenya watu kuna degree unadhani watu ngapi? So 1 million people think 1 million out of a population of 50 million people.
Na hata nikisema joy questionable simaanisha hata degree. Na maanisha kitu kama saizi there's someone somewhere vile tumecriticize Murkomen wearing Gucci shoes yeye atasema sisi ni haters. Alafu apart from kusema sisi ni haters atasema we are anti-UDA. To me all these clowns muitaga nani pia niko na feel like he was too flashy but with him it's cars I understand like we are a man a car will mean easier to get sex but Joho to me was too flashy, understand? So this is across all divides, like we have a bunch of clowns running things. Homa Bay ulisikia they used 200 million shillings on tea 200 million shillings on tea in 5 years. Mnakunywa chai gani? But if I was to have ni have your statement peke yake kuna mseta kuwa offended atafikiria now I'm pro UDA, like that's what now I'm talking about. Like tumekuwa brainwashed so much that we can't see like if this guy was not wearing Gucci shoes before he became a CS salary ya CS yati imechange sana na MP. Is the difference that big that you used to wear shoes at 20k now you're wearing shoes at 100 over 100,000 2,000 300,000 shillings?
Kitu watu wengi hawezi elewa is we're not criticizing the wearing of the Gucci but the idea that represents you're a minister, you come from one of the most poverty stricken areas in the country, an area that a lot has to be done, you know, like all that banditry, either cattle rustle zikuku juu, that's basically a product of poverty. And now you are in power, you have a chance to do the right thing. But now when you are fixated na vitu kama hizo like mafashion, maguchi, manini, all that says that you are not interested in solving the problems za watu wenye kuku chini. Ni kama wale mabudo unapatanga mtu ameneglect familia yake barako tu kwa bama za amekelea grand livet yake ya 20 years ndio ananyorosha, you know. Like that's the same mentality that inatumika. Anajua it cuts across the political class. Na vile umesema sasa ikitu hata mimi ina frustrating because ordinarily I identify as an Azimio guy, but miss mind like Ruto is my president as long as he's doing the right thing. So juzi nimeandika Facebook nikasema siku hizi hakuna mtu mazaa anaheshimu Kenya anymore hapa East Africa, like Uganda they no longer care about us, TZ. Like unajua kitambo ulikuwa na Mkapa hapa kila siku Kikwete wanakuja. So when I asked that question nikasema sijajua foreign policy ya Ruto juu tangu ingia ataziona Museveni kama amekuja huku nini. So huku chini people thought like I was attacking Ruto because an Azimio guy and this is a problem that has been there for like the last 10 from around 2010. Niliona heshima yetu imeenda ikishuka tu pole pole even kina Kagame they no longer come to Nairobi. So we have lost that big boy status. Unaona because these are the countries tunasikianga usijua amechukua hiyo deal yao ya sijui kupitisha mafuta huku kufanya nini. And I'm wondering like Kenya we're supposed to be like the big boys, like we should never lose that, you know. We've been the leaders all. Unajua watu wengi mazao wajuangi like how big we are as I saw the other day like in Africa we're number 7 and we have the potential to go even up to number 3, unaona. But now the guys in charge mazee, ukiona tu hata mamisa walichaguliwa mazee, Kuria akifungua mdomo mazee anabonga tu mpaka unasema guy man. So you can never get far with that kind of nonsense.
And afu ile kitu nafaa kujua vile ulisema it's the whole political class like kuna watu sana washaini requestigia hapa and I'm sure if I really wanted I could get him. Kuna watu washaniambiaga ni tafute Babu and for me Babu just out of principle of me Mwafrika number 1 an atheist and atheism yangu ina respecting life on earth so much the fact that this guy allegedly shot someone for pissing him off me and him we share zero principles unaona so I can't siwezi kaa chini naye cause itakuwa nikikaa chini naye I'll be strictly looking for views not based on mtu na admire because I think everyone I've sat with it's someone that I admire unajua niko like you do this so these clowns are in both camps and they are dangerous in that they're dangerous either because they'll be corrupt to maintain a certain lifestyle ama they can shoot you because they can get away with it the same way siwezi taka kukaa chini na Babu I never want to sit down with Didmas Barasa nacheki because they represent the same thing which is thuggery impunity and you know
nakwambia like our political class is cut from the same cloth and maybe some of those people that you're mentioning maybe they are my friends and I don't divide that further but I totally get where you're coming from and the same thing I was saying like Murkomen and Sonko no difference at all one is just eloquent in English and that is it
but ile siku tutatoka kwa hiyo mentality cause
ni ngumu cause for me now naona like after Jubilee linge in power 10 years ago I felt like we've entered a very dark period and if they were to be in power for 20 years as the project and that's what has come to happen op zangu zinazikisha because unajua ukiangalia like after Ruto ametoka which clowns are going to take over angalia the generation of politicians that our generation of politicians that we expect maybe they'll be in power in the next 10 years look at them.
I wouldn't be surprised even if Nani became president anaitwa Kuria with the foreskin misleads the mind. I think also like the Kenyatta did such a terrible job of creating a nation that more feel like tribalism ya Kenya it's so deep that people don't see a problem where like a national leader attacks one community wasaonagio shida like as long as even like if you were to go musamaga like even if you were to go to the UDA camp you want to tell me you can't get someone more respectable than what's his name than Kuria because Kuria tayari ashasema one based on their penis one community is inferior sindio and it's not just based on their penis it's based on their penis and maybe the color of their skin because this is the same guy who'll go to an uncircumcised British or Japanese or Chinese and beg for money macheki so how and this guy can become a Kenyan president unajua you can never write that off you know that right
absolutely and you see in Kenya the more cantankerous you are the more you are appealing to the political base alafu just sasa watu huku chini walikuwa wanasema like awashiki rada when Ruto appointed these people to be ministers all of us knew how incompetent the whole cabinet save for out of like 20 people you could only excuse like 5 there a year later is saying that those guys are incompetent and people are surprised and they're like come on dude bana I saw what Oguda wrote and I was laughing because that was like the most honest scorecard of those people.
Alipatiwa health something, alisema I think ni wa health peke yake, the rest he just made
No, so health ni ule mama course East African and Monica Juma of course competent and the lady what's her name Rebecca Miano ule wa East African Asal whatever East African community and all
I
that.
remember that
Because she's coming from an inner background of competence. And you see, like now when you move, when we embrace the American model, the American model of appointing cabinet secretaries, it means you go for competent people. Like you expect, if it's the Minister of Health, you expect a technocrat within that sector. If it's roads, you expect like an engineer in that sector. But you see, that's not how we think of appointments in terms of like how much you can milk from that ministry. So you have to put someone there who can help you channel the money from there. Yeah.
And now the funny thing, Waga, like the way I always feel like we have dumb ethnicity. And by dumb ethnicity, I mean that even if you go to the county level where one tribe dominates, if this one guy steals from us, we are never angry because he's one of our own. Like if you go to Migori and you look at all those corruption scandals, you find a lot of Luos are not angry. They're like, he's one of us. Alafu wende Homa Bay vile nakwambia wali spend 280 million. Utapata nikiagio hapo na mjaka ataniambia wewe uko na rasta umevuta bangi toka hapa jujingi. Nikala buda.
Even within counties unajua kuna clanism. Ukienda Kisii utasikia clan is our turn to eat, and it goes down and down, but you see the fish rots from the head. A country only moves forward. And I've had this argument with people, people are only as good as their leaders and a representative. I never agree with that.
To be a leader of the people.
A leader,
you have to lead.
To be given that privilege to serve, to have that merit. For example, mimi, like Mandela is my hero. Najuanga kuna watu upinga. And I support Mandela on account like aliamua vile alikuwa jela, vile ametolewa pale ile prison alikuwa inaitwa gani? Robben Island. Kuna place alichukuliwa kwa Airbnb fulani tu hapo hivyo, akaanza kunegotiate for peace. And I understood his argument. Alikuwa anasema like the people were addicted to war. Even having a conversation on the way forward was not possible. So he went ahead and cut a deal, and his aim was kwanza apathaidishe watu wakuwe equal, then now they can work on those other things. And that's what he did, akapewa freedom. And then after 5 years, he stepped out. And the opposite are those who came after him, they can now build on. So napata like 5 years after he left, watu bado wanamblame 20 years later for what's taking place. To be a leader, like all those countries, like ukienda America, they owe their success to the founding fathers and the constitution they wrote. Ukienda in the Asian Tiger, there's a leader ni mtu anaamua, I'm going to do the right thing. Unaona? Lakini sasa hapa tuko na mtu, like shida Kenya kwanza, not like Kenya kwanza, like the political party, like our problem in general is that when someone is a politician, they want to serve themselves first, and it ends there. Mtu ataki, like a friend of mine made me laugh, like hii Kenya ukiona mtu anataka kujengea nyumba, anataka benefit kwanza, nyumba tu ni inaitwaje, ni spill over, like ni byproduct yeye kujisaidia. And that's why you see like you are always having these bogus projects, the expressway, hakuna mtu ashaika akasema like shida Nairobi ni traffic. There's only one way to solve traffic, and that is building a proper railway system. And we have the money, we have the resources. But naona mtu anafikiria mazerele kujenga mazeni miaka 10 nitakuwa nishatoka in power bana, hapana. Tuweke expressway 2 years mazeni nipate yangu ka nimeenda. So that's why naona like we are always investing in stupid stuff because someone wants to make a quick kill kama meishia,
alafu hata pia nini kikam to expressway, I think it's only bad because we inflated it. Otherwise, try to imagine at the right amount of money, it's not a bad project. On my side, it's like if with zero corruption, to spend like as little.
It's an extremely horrible project, and I'm sure in another 10 or 20 years it has to be brought down. Because one, you see, let me tell you what's wrong with this expressway. Barabara ilijengwa juu ikisha, si ndio? Ya chini, you see, they are just taking their sweet time. Hata wanaja
kurepair.
That's the same elite problem we have. Like tajiri akisha take care of his interest,
maskini ajipange.
Mtajipanga. Number 2, as I've told you, the last 1 month maze traffic ambassador imenimesa sana. And you expect maybe barabara vile mejengo kujua hapa chini, maybe things will be easier. mazee nakujanga tu kutoka mimi nishikite nikikuja mazee nafika hapa mazee nyayo mazee unakaa hapo like 20 minutes unaona and the only way of solving the traffic mess, like there's no shortcut. Nairobi now has 5 million people and initially it was supposed to take care of about 500,000 people. The only way to do that is to build a railway system, and building already we have a railway system and wamejaribu ku-upgrade and all that but a commitment to a functional public transit system ndio pekee inaweza solve noma iko Nairobi. So hii project ya expressway it's good for now but it's only helping like 1%. Na watu wenye nasema they don't even invest in Kenya. So sisi wenye tunafaa, cause mimi nimeishi majuu mazee, kitu niliona wazungu wametuchapa ni time management. Hii traffic mazee, like the amount of productivity that we lose there. So one estimate ilikuwa nasema like we lose almost 1 billion monthly in terms of the man hours of just sitting in traffic. But ona to someone up there solving these things by this inatakanga patience na you have to bore people. But watu wetu tunaona kama sisi people are planning for 2027 and you know how the Japanese said, a politician sees the next election, a leader talks about the next generation, you know. So that is
because nini I disagreed with Magufuli on a lot of things, especially when it came to killing the opposition. And I always tell people that I'm biased when it comes to the opposition because I'll be honest, najua Kenya as a country, the British made it, and then I ended up on the wrong side of it where I was born in a community that's always in the opposition. And as a result, I know what government violence means. Like every election cycle, a bunch of Luos have to be killed. And that's the reality. And that was the reality under Kenyatta 1969 alienda Kisumu. Sindio? Moi alifanya the same thing. Kibaki did that because everyone sanitizes Kibaki as a saint. No, he did that.
Wasn't a saint.
Uhuru did that. That's why Uhuru last week vile alijifanyisha analia juu ya victims. So Ruto was like, this is bullshit. And Ruto has done that. So with that, I'll never support any leader who turns his guns on his citizens. And that's what Magufuli used to do. But tukitoka kwa hiyo part ya Magufuli, which also happens here in Kenya, so it's not special, what Magufuli did different was he led. Like a lot of projects zile zime happen TZ, even for the few people who feel like TZ imetukaribia, that's all courtesy of Magufuli. Sindio? Samia unamwonaje kuzoto anasema nika flower girl fulani? I've not been following.
Samia she's solid and like I've talked to a few guys in Tanzania. I think guys are confident in her ability to lead and like I've not seen any complaint about her incompetence or anything. I think she's qualified to be there. So hata mimi like freedom of speech is such an easy thing. You know, like the reason I admire America, for example, the ability to dialogue, to speak freely the way we speak, mazi sasa like vile tumesema umekosea nani, like unaona. So that's why I also believe like in opposition. Like they need to be like a dictator. I never encourage that. I don't believe in dictatorship. I believe if you're a leader,
criticism should not affect you.
Should not affect you. And also you can just do the right thing. And you should accommodate other views. As long as you're democratically elected, nobody can take you out of office as long as you're doing the right thing. People become dictators when they want to do the wrong thing and still get away with it. But I've never been a supporter of a dictatorship.
So unafeel nini juu history ya Niger? Nini wacha ni take opportunity kuinterrupt jo. Kama we ni mse ule mental faculties zake hazikopoa hisi show yako. Iza buda. So Niger unaichukuaje history ya cause naweza patia wase like what I know about it. I mean I used to call it Niger. But Niger. Now it's Niger. Hiyo whatever. Ama
Niger.
So apparently around your area kumekuwa na lot of coups so kuna Burkina Faso, kuna Mali na kuna Niger, sindio? And there's this one speech that I saw that I felt was super powerful of one of these two Niger people. Number one, pia wacha ni put another disclaimer. Military governments according to me are the worst governments to ever be under, sindio? Now let me continue with the nini. So this military guy was saying the way that the only reason they've done hiyo coup yao because they are tired of coups by African leaders. Wakapatia na example ya Alusan Utara.
Ivory Coast.
Yes. Entered into power after he was nearly rigged out. Sile rigging ya Kenya iki happen rigging ya Ivory Coast ilikuwa ina happen, sindio?
Na Laurent Gbagbo.
Yeah, akastick mpaka he got into power. ran for his 10 years, pretends he wants to live for some other guy. That guy dies mysteriously. Now he says, by the way constitution inaonyesha I can run this country, and then now he's the president. So according to them say that's a coup. It's a coup d'etat, sindio? So nasema kama nyinyi mnaweza fanya coup d'etat ya constitution, we can also do another coup d'etat ya just taking over the country. And they said that this is a problem ya African leaders, because African leaders wanajua as long as they are supported by the West, they can get away with all manner of atrocities. They talked about how these governments always turn their guns on their civilians. So unafeel nini juu ya
Yeah, what's happening in West Africa is that France for the longest time controlled the West, of course, they were colonized. And France's model of colonization, of course, was different from the British. But now what's happening there currently is that Russia is making an entry into Africa. Now, Russia may realize that actually the West is collapsing.
Yeah.
So saizi Russia is coming up with that big whatever energy to Africa, and you see they're giving, I saw that photo of, which country was that, like African leaders were being given guns and all that. So Russia is just coming the same strategy these people have been using. So you'll be seeing a lot of disruption. Hiyo history hapo kuanzia tu Sudan, uende tu Chad, hiyo Sahara Desert tu hivyo uchape hivyo Niger, hapo Mali, I don't know how Mauritania is doing currently.
Yeah.
But actually sasa viteko huku saizi ni China and Russia, they want a stake. Because bado like Niger unajua ndio inakuanga one of the largest exporters of uranium.
Yeah.
And France ndio inakuanga na
beneficiaries
like 99% yote inaenda France, unaona. So pale it's just superpowers who are trying to nini, and then sasa shida ya America, Britain and France is sort of like saizi wako weak. They are weakening.
Yeah.
And China and Russia have smelled blood, and now so sisi sasa ni fahari wanapigana huku juu sisi ni nyasi. And those coups, of course, anytime you see a coup, there's a big power behind it. And the big power, of course, they don't have any intentions about the normal African nini. Kitu moja uta appreciate wazungu hujipenda. Like saizi try and kill an American citizen hapa Nairobi, unaona utakuwa nayo. But sisi wa Afrika hatujipendi na hatujajikubali like we are human.
Hatujajiheshimu pia.
Mazemi nakuambia like ile sikutumu Afrika ataamua like I'm human and I deserve dignity. Hai tunaweza toka tuende mbali sana. Sisi mazeni watu wa Afrika sijui niliona mail ingine imeenda mpaka imefika Brazil. I saw some Nigerians were trying to escape. They were going to Europe. I think sijui vile shipeli drift mpaka wakajipata Brazil.
Yeah.
Like every time I see Africans dying in the Mediterranean, I look at the kind of endless and boundless opportunities in Africa. I cry. But ile siku tutajikubali hivi, tutaenda mbali sana.
Nenanzaga na leadership. Like, mu believe, hata kaa watu wanasema nini, mu believe if Ruto woke up today and said from today, there's no corruption in Kenya, there'd be no corruption. Najua. Watu semaga, it's impossible. No, it's impossible because impunity, vile ulisema, the fish rots from the head. Yeah. Impunity thrives because someone allows it to thrive. And even what we've noticed is, if Ruto can make the ex-president's son sweat, that means he can make any CS sweat.
You know, any leader, like you can just go for on basis of like institution per institution. I've had a chance to be a leader, and I've seen like when you set a good example, you just need to set a good example.
Yeah.
And this is something that maybe you can give credit to Kibaki.
Yeah.
Kibaki delegated, and under Kibaki government, of course, kulikuwa na ile Anglo-Leasing scandal and a few and there. But
more pros than
if
cons.
the leader at the top akona appetite tu ya kusaidia watu, hana appetite yake like ya self inaitwaje kujinini,
kujiendeleza.
Unajua in Kenya saizi mazi with 1 billion bana you can live the most comfortable life. You don't need to be like because mtu kama kina Joe Biden bana, that guy has been riding train kutoka Delhi akienda Washington mazee like ni mtu mazee utaangalia siku atakufa labda pesa mingi ataunda ni hiyo kitabu ataandika, because mtu kama Obama amekuja kuunda bila ametoka kuwa president, hizo speech anapeana nini. Basi unaona in Africa we have it in reverse. The rich people are politicians who have never manufactured anything, they have never discovered anything. They only get money through corruption and patronage. But the moment we'll tweak our mind like this, mtu unasema like I don't need what is there is enough, even my salary ni kama ule president wa Uruguay ama which country is that ule jamaa acha tukavosoa the beetle unaona
ilikuwa Uruguay
you can just with the money that they earn and the little that they steal they can still achieve so much
with what they've already stolen.
With all they have already stolen, someone can just decide like I'm going to do work. The right thing
and I'm going to leave a legacy.
Hizi nomatokonaza hapa sijui za njaa sijui za magonjwa ni shida zingine kidogo sana by the way but no someone steals money that can pay lecturers for like a whole year kwa tenda tu moja hivi mtu ananyaroshanga tu saizi mazata watoi mazee high school mazee ile pesa walikuwa wanapewa free education unajua imeisha saizi parents are going back to paying school fees shule hazitumii mado nini because that money is being used for other things and that's just sad.
Alafu nini maybe ka vile ulisema yeye ni msawazimio maybe you won't agree with this but I have to say there's something very interesting that Miguna said. Miguna alisema that Raila had an opportunity to show that he could be a great leader but if you look at all the Azimio controlled counties they have as much corruption as any other county out there. This is something that I've said in different words. Musemaga ukiangalia vile nimesema nikiongea juu ya Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu, Siaya the amount of corruption in these 4 counties is the same amount of corruption in any other county. In these 4 counties Raila's support is ridiculous. It's godlike, god level. Sindo?
Kabisa.
So that means that if you could tell these governors that ukiiba ata shilingi you're going to be pushed out. You know why? Because I'll make the MCAs push you out. And if the MCAs refuse, I'm going to make the citizens come there and push you out. And you see the national government, they might worry about protests za Luos in whatever, but if you come to a county level where it's just the county handling in, I'm sure even the police would provide security because, let the foreskin take care of the foreskin. So I feel like he's provided zero leadership and when Miguna says that people hate the messenger but I felt like the message was right. Like there was always an opportunity in hindsight to show leadership through this mina sema 4 counties but Miguna was saying more than 4 counties kusema Nairobi and Kidero Coast and Joho acheki all this nini but mi nasema hizi 4 because these 4 had a certain level of support that he would never lose. So
no I think on one account Miguna is right but I always feel that is an unfair accusation to Raila because he's not the president, he does not have any powers in as much as like he has the political power over those people who are near but that is the prerogative of the government in place to control this country, not just Luo Nyanza but across the country. Those rules have to apply but you see we live in a country where if you are corrupt and you are with the government of the day is working with you you are safe because those governors are here they are constantly taking money to their political benefactors to bribe their way and stay there. So it's a Kenyan problem and if Raila is a problem is our problem as Kenya and there are certain good things that he's done and there are certain aspects of him that most of us don't approve of but the nature of leadership, the nature of revolution is usually a messy thing haikuangi like indicatico straightforward so there are certain things that will benefit from Raila and the rest now it's up to us now to take over and try and fix zile zenye aja nini
na nani tukimalizia hii mambo ya politics Miguna I feel like it's been such an anticlimax remember he was supposed to come be the next
shida Miguna he's such a bright guy but there's something called I wrote about this morning adultescence this is when you're an adult who's basically a teenager by that I mean like as you grow older you have to master your emotions and even when like you are a revolutionary you must know that you have to work with other people and don't be in a situation where like you want to be the smartest person in the room. Miguna now the person he is one guy I tell you like angekuja ajiposition vizuri kwa DM and he works with those who are there he would be either senator or even a governor, Kisumu ama
Nairobi.
And would have shown us those things, that this is how things are done.
Yes.
Because there have been governors who have delivered. Oparanya in Kakamega. I visited Lonyangapuo for an interview for some job I was doing a couple of nini, and he told me the plan he had. The plan was good. Like you could listen, he was telling like hii shida kato wrestling, but then shida poverty na illiteracy. Ashaanza kuset up hizo centers za wazee wakuja wasome. Unajua huku Pokota kukuwa na mashule for the longest time. Ashaleta stories za farming nini. So even when he lost, unatu Rosafi enda kambile msi, by then he lose, I wish you all the best. Na akatoka. So Miguna has to understand that politics ni kitu kinakuanga very messy. Not just in Kenya, all over the world. But the reason I admire the Obamas and the Mandelas of this world, but still you can pick one thing and do it right. Kama Obama, for example, aliamua America by then no money, healthcare. And that's what he did, and that will be his legacy. Like there are people, millions of people, like 30 million people will always remember what Obama did. So Miguna, for all his brilliance, the inability to know that sometimes you have to play. Unaona vile Anyang' Nyong'o waliamua tu kucheza chini ya Raila na Orengo. Because those guys ni wamesoma kuliko Raila by far, you know. But they realize fighting, going against Raila, it's not going to be futile. So they said to work with him, and they have, I don't know how effective they have been as leaders. But
they've reached...
They have reached somewhere. So Miguna is someone mwenye angejiposition vizuri, it's a bit of guidance and some emotional maturity, angekuwa very far. But on a saizi, nobody even cares about his opinion anymore.
He's more of a Twitter guy than...
He's a Twitter guy. Unaona hata KK government is impaired job. And people like Miguna, those are the brains we need. Because mtu kama ule unajua ni mtu kushua, haizi kuwa corrupt. So akiingia kwa institution, unajua kuna institution mazee, watu kuchini wanaogopa, wanajua ukishikwa na corruption unaenda. Because watu kuku chini, they just need to be afraid like, hey, nikishikwa. Unajua handshake, for example, civil servants are really afraid of corruption. Because now Kinagakuo died in jail. So ikifika hapo kila mtu anaanza kusema mimi sitaki nini. Like when those institutions swing to work, watu ogopa. So you make the cost of corruption to be very high to anyone who wants to dare. And people like Miguna can enforce that, but now you can only enforce that when also you are reasonable. So he's not reasonable.
Because you reveal secrets za watu, and he goes on this to rants kama mtoi. Because even vile alisema he's looking for the ODPP job. I remember I was like one of the people wale walikuwa hapo zile za I hope he gets it, but I knew he'd never get it.
No, you can't employ Miguna. You can't employ because ajui keep your siri. Basically, as I told you, the difference between an adolescent and an adult is the ability to master your emotions. Saizi unaweza nijamisha, but imanishi nikunje ngumi tupigane. I can respectfully walk away and just keep it at that nona. So that inability, I mean, na kuna watu wengi wako design. So it's just some mental problem, and that one now we can't help him. We can only learn like ukiona mtoto wako kuna shida kama hizo, mwambie tu manage hizo ma emotions zake.
Alafu pia I think also as a man you can never dedicate your whole life into fighting one man.
You can never dedicate your life fighting into one man.
Like it's so hiyo ndio kitu moja ile muonaga like every day he wakes up just tweets about one person
like there's a mental problem there. Like so that's why like tunasema huyo tunamwachia tu. But it's unfortunate that he can't go far than he is right now. Nobody can ever give him a job. He can only remain in Canada, and that's like a wasted legacy.
Aruli na ile Twitter beef yake na nani na Ekuru
niliona vile wana exchange. That's another thing maybe we should talk about. I really hate our adults bana. Kuna kuzingine mazono unaona Twitter mazono you're like almost 60 bana, you can't be talking about shit that happened in campus 10 years ago. Wajami hata nakuange embarrassed.
I taught you this, I taught you that.
I did that. Like hata nani Jamed Nasir, kuna watu wao maloya yole ni like that kind of engagement bana. Ile tu ni low bro. Alafu of course it's banter, it's entertaining, but that's the kind of nini. Those are the kind of notions. Those are the guys at the top, and expect them to be. We should be busy looking for solutions, man. How do we make a just society? How do we make a fair society? How do we make an equitable society? Unaona? But sasa unapata like watu wamesoma, that's the same thing. It goes back to the same thing ile Murko tulikuwa tunaongelea. Watu wamesoma hapa Africa, they are not interested in solving
everyday problems.
Ukienda place kama America, Trump is probably the most stupid president I've ever had. But still he had the heart, he wanted to help. Wale wazungu wa huku chini, wale marust belt huku, wale marednecks. He wanted to do something for them. Like, hata kama yani is the dumbest person they have put in office, but you can see he has some dedication to that. But hapa maze, whether you are bright or dumb, like the same thing. So ukiangalia the quality of conversations you have in Kenya, the quality of debates hata kwa TV mazona watching, the only people make sense ni maactivist wanakuanga, but pia maactivist pia they lack that they are good in the theory aspect, but when it comes now to pragmatic, like for example running a city like Nairobi, activist hapa ezani. So then how do you balance interest za mafia na interest za watu and still deliver, you know?
Like that idealistic world does not exist.
No, it doesn't exist. Human beings are messy, and to be a leader you have to understand on how to do. Ni kama nikienda kwa huku Kisii, nianze kuambia watu nataka niwaletee maji nini, people don't care about that. Mtu anataka, that's why even hata kitu ya Wordcoin iko hapo. Ukiambia mtu mwenye ako njaa bana, nikupige picha, nichukue picha ya macho yako, nikupe nini
7,000 I'll take.
Wakati wewe ni chokora bana, you don't care what someone does with your iris. Like it's none of your business. Just go use it because you've solved my immediate problem. So as a leader you have to have that ability to know, kwanza nitaenda basi hata kama nikuchotea watu, kama nikodonta wachotea, but once I'm in, I can show them how things are done. And from there now, once you're able to show people, some say unaweza fanyia watu nini and they won't elect you back. I'm like, no,
that shouldn't matter, just
do it, but also now to play politics. Shida nile, like the people who deliver, they fail on the political bit. Unajua politics ni kitu ina boma zidi. Ukiwa Mwafrika and umesoma, mazima peasants wanaweza kubo, but you have to know how to deal with them, you know? Inakuanga shida. So unapatanga like mtu ulielektiwa, umekuwa MP, umeanza kuvaa maguchi. People don't care about that. People, those unapatanga like nilikuwa jini Taita Taveta, nilienda bana, governor mazaa amekuja tu amekaa hapo na watu. You know, that's politics, because now you are accessible. Awogopi juu kuna mabodyguard wamestunya hapo, wamevaa mijima miwani nini. You just, you know, people don't care about those things, by the way. People just want you to show that you are accessible and you can talk to them. And that's why I like my former MP Onyonka. Onyonka unajua ni mtu wako very accessible. Mazana ngiata ile hoteli ya mtaa, mazana kunywa chai, mkianza mnamtoanisha, anatoa thawa, anasema hey bana, mimi niko na thawa pekee. Mpaka inabidi tu mnacheka, bana nakwambia mazata wewe mazili lipia watu hapa bana. But people like him because he can talk to people and he's accessible. So our elite, like our activists, our due to balance the theory and the practical kudeal na watu maskini, because Africa bado hajatoka ofisi ya tuko huko kwa laws bado kwa food na shelter. Is after people get food and shelter ndio sasa unaanza kuwapeza ideas poa like tafanya hivi.
And I feel like pia vile umesema, like if you have to solve their immediate problems, like make sure their kids have schools. The schools have electricity, they have a decent library. Right now the library is the internet. So see Starlink imekuja. Just have a Starlink in every school. So how many schools does a constituency have?
If we can't afford schools, but we can even build centers iko na hiyo like
internet ile watu wanaweza
build just like each constituency, yani inaitwaje, each location ama zinaitwa wards you can build like 2 or 3 centers, like ziko na hizo shared resources, ziko na hizo ma laptop, like those things are affordable kabisa. These things are very cheap bana. But shida ni ile politicians don't like serving the people, because when you serve the people, that's money to their pocket, not to your pocket. It's easier to build a road, because in a road you can overquote and get your kickback. But to pay people, you're not going to get that money back, or you can't get a kickback from someone's salary. No. So that's unanga like they're not interested in solving those. Alafu unajua kunufia like ni kama ishida menji hapa Kibera wanasema menjo zinatakanga tu maskini tubaki Kibera, because ukimaliza shida maskini Kibera hawatapata mshahara yao. You know, so that's the situation.
Manjio kuna vile zimenini. So acha tutoke kwa politics tuingie kwa writing.